I have some interview questions for you, sir, and I hope you can answer them all. So let's start with number one, just to get to know you a little bit. Why did you move so far north in Norway?
There's actually many people asking me why I moving that far north inside the polar circle, so far away from a civilization, public transport and easy access by plane. It's really hard to answer for me. It's a bit difficult question. I cannot decide whether it's too far north or it's really the best place on earth. So it's hard to make any decisions.
But you're happy where you live right now?
Yeah, it's more like the nature, it's more like mind-blowing, and it's keeping you around somehow, even that the winter is so long.
And could you imagine to move somewhere else in Norway?
I thought about it many times to the social aspect. Before I consider this part, I have to explore southwest Norway first. I heard about or seen pictures that it's really nice landscape down there too. But it's outside the polar circle, it's not 24 hours daylight during the summer and no northern lights. So it's a big difference, but it's still Norway and it's still the same possibilities what you can do by activities like kayaking and probably surfing, hiking.
So you're thinking of moving to the south, maybe?
It depends, yeah, on various factors.
Well, let's see in the future what comes. Then before moving to Norway, did you learn the language before? Did you learn it here, Norwegian?
I learned it back in 2007 when I arrived here for the first time. It was about 10 months. I decided I just been visiting my dad. He's running a holiday place nearby, only 1 hour. So I worked for them for 10 months. So for various reasons, what I made a video about on my channel, I will link it on the top. I had to move back to Germany. So I went to a Norwegian course. I did only 150 hours. In that time, it was obligated to do 300 hours, but the teacher said, okay, it was no need for me to do the full course. So I went to the test in Scotland and passed it, so I had the paper about it. 2013, it was not necessary anymore.
That sounds interesting. Very smart. You're very smart. And how did you find your place where you live now? Because it's a very nice place, but did you know it before, or how did you find it?
Yeah, my house is located in Scotland. It's where I work. So I've been living there since 2013. And I had actually had an eye or was looking for the house, 2 houses next to my house. It was for sale on the internet, but it was so small and so high in price, so I decided not to buy it. That makes it even more funny that I actually bought the house, 2 houses next to it. Yeah. For half of the price, and it's like double or 3 more times bigger the house.
Okay, but you knew the place before or not?
I didn't know the place exactly where the house is in the spot. I just took the first opportunity to buy a house, which was not so expensive, so I could get into the estate market to start somewhere.
And was it difficult or easy to move to Norway and you changed your house and everything?
You mean the moving process?
Yeah, the moving process, yeah.
No, it's basically really easy. You just sell all your stuff, what you have, pack your car or buy a car, pack it, and then you just move. This is what I did in the first time in 2007. So I sold everything and bought a car, and then I moved up here to buy a car. And I did it once more again in 2013 when I was moving back to Norway again, after I finished my education as an electrician.
Okay, wow, impressive. Did you had to do many paperwork in Norway when you moved here?
As a European citizen, it's more easy. You just need to fill out the form and you only need a working contract. So as I know, as it's today, you only need the 15% working contract at least for 6 months. This video I can link up on the top as well, how to move to Norway, so you can check this out. And yeah, in my case it was easy, so I got the working contract. I did not move to Norway without I had signed the contract, so I did this in advance. So I've been in several weeks in May in 2013. I've been in the area. So I was looking for work as an electrician and I signed the contract. And when I knew, okay, if I moved to Norway, it was really safe due to my income and work. So I didn't need to have big savings. When I moved to Norway, I could just move, rent a place and start working.
So you just tried it out and it worked for you?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's cool. Was it very difficult for you to adapt to the cold temperatures or to the climate, to the darkness in the winter time? Was it difficult for you?
In the beginning it's not difficult, and the cold climate, it's not so cold as everything maybe claimed to be. It's depending on the humidity. It's more dry air here along the coast compared to Germany, and the weather is always changing from raining, snowing, freezing. It's mostly like that during the winter time, which is about 7 months. We are so close out on the sea, on the Gulf Stream, which makes it several degrees warmer. So you have more unstable winter conditions. But also can be stable, so it's just depending how the weather is. It's really hard to predict. And it's always changing. Not every year is the same with the climate, it's always different.
And do you prefer the cold or the warm weather?
I prefer the cold with a background. When I was working in Germany, in the city as an electrician, and it was like 40 degrees for 4 months. You cannot sleep in the evening in your flat, and it was way too warm to work. Basically, it's more easy to be here, as you can protect from the cold, but you cannot protect so much from the heat.
That's actually a pretty interesting question. One of your followers asked you, do you feel more Norwegian or more German?
Yeah, I cannot claim anything about it. When I was in Germany growing up, people knew that I was half English, so they were kind of harassing me and my brother for not being German. So it was like you never belonged to somewhere. So when I was in Germany, you've been only the English guy, not the German guy, even that I'm born in Germany and grown up in Germany. And when you finally move to Norway, it's starting all over again, because when the people associating you with Hitler and the Second World War all the time, doing some jokes about it. Even at work, people are just standing in front of you and doing the Hitler greeting with the arm up in the air and walking in front of you, and it's really strange. If they would know what the history has done to many people, they should think twice about it.
Yeah.
But this is how most people think, how they are, especially what I at least met. But it's not all, it's only a few people, but you experience stuff like this all the time.
So you would consider yourself as a European?
More like a European mix.
Okay.
It's hard to say.
But it sounds good. Like just I'm European. That's enough, I think. And another question would be, is it difficult to find friends in Norway? Or how is it? How do you make friends here?
You know, Norwegians are really friendly and welcoming and opening, especially in the north. But if you try to connect to them more deeply, try to be friends, it's really hard. Over years, like 10 years, I managed maybe a few times, but when people moving away again, so you start from scratch all the time. So it's a hard question. I cannot tell why or what are the reasons exactly for it. But I also can imagine that people has their own daily life and their own daily routines. Their friends from the school time, their family and working schedule. So maybe it's a kind of how they prioritize their own life. Maybe it's no space for other people. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
Okay. For me, it's the first time in Norway, so I saw many little, I would call it villages, maybe with 4 houses or maybe 20. And I know where you live. Do you feel lonely sometimes? And if yes, how do you deal with the loneliness?
Not lonely, but it would be nice to maybe meet someone, to have on long-term basis, different way to have a life together with someone, compared to be all the time alone, or maybe have a family later in the future. But I cannot force anyone to be a friend or to be with me, and most in the cases people don't want to move exactly to a place where I live. So this is kind of the biggest issue maybe.
So it's actually, my next question was how dating life is going here, so like after that I would say difficult.
Yeah, mostly it's easy if you go in the pub and in the bar and you meet someone, it's easy there, but anything above that, a bit more difficult.
Okay.
It's not the same like it was for 15 years ago maybe, as I experienced in Germany. Everything is now more on distance and more based on phones, smartphones and social media, and maybe some apps which are, I don't know, I'm not the kind of a guy on the apps, like a successful person.
Well, so yeah, it sounds kind of difficult. I just wish you a lot of luck that you may find someone. We talked about this before, but maybe you can go in further detail. What do you do during the dark time, like winter time here? Because I mean, it's just dark 24 hours per day. So what do you do apart from work?
It depends how or what activities you like to do. You can do the same things during the dark times as when it's light, especially during the winter time. When it's dark here, it's mostly winter time. If the conditions are right. For the northern nights, you can be out there and hunt all the time if you like. It's really nice light shows we have. Depends on sun activity. And you can go hiking, snowboarding even in the dark, but you just need more light. It's not the same in the summer or enjoyable, but everything is possible. You can go kayaking as well. But most people stay maybe inside, make it cozy at home, have a fire. Maybe you can be creative, do some art stuff, or doing something like YouTube. Many possibilities you can do, or make some stuff at home like furniture. You can make stuff. So it's always something to do if you would like to do stuff, or just chill with movies or series. It's also possible.
Well, it's the more comfy way to spend the evenings. And that's also a very interesting question. Do you work more or less in Norway compared to Germany?
It's only a few hours less compared to Germany if you use the hourly basic. In Germany it was about 40 hours, and here in Norway it's 37.5. It's not a big difference. But there's actually many companies in Norway where you work a lot of overtime, and it's kind of expected you do it. But you also can say no, and they can't do anything about it. So the good thing with overtime is really good paid. It's like 50% or 100%, and it's a way more higher rate compared to Germany if you get overtime paid here. So in some cases you can do it, you can work more, so you earn more money, and it's easier for you to buy stuff or buy a house or things like that.
Mm-hmm. And do you have more vacation days than in Germany?
You have only 5 weeks. In Germany it's more vacation, as I know, as I had as an apprentice in Germany back then. You get paid like a holiday money in Norway, so it's like you don't get your salary, but you get the holiday money instead. Mm-hmm. If you are in a union, you can get 12.5% of your yearly income. So if you earn 600,000, it's about 5,000 to 6,000 euros, it depends, as you get for 5 weeks.
And do you already have any further trips planned for this year?
Yeah, there's so much to do, so much to explore in the world. It's only the problem what you should prioritize, what you should do with your time. I'm still working on that, how to figure it out, to maybe change my work, to maybe be more flexible or travel more. But the travel aspect is a bit difficult in Norway. If you go by plane all the time, it's quite expensive to only get to Oslo, and from there it's a bit cheaper. But if you compare it with Central Europe, it's like you can fly to Dublin or Portugal only for 50 euros, and you cannot do it here. It's like 500-600 euros for each time you go.
So it's easier to just take your car or your van with you and just make a road trip through Scandinavia?
Yeah, you can do it through Scandinavia, it's no problem, but everything further from Middle Europe, maybe 3 weeks off, it's not so much time. It's mostly like 1 week, one way driving. So you can only be there 1 week, and then you need to drive back again.
Like more general question, do you have any plans for the future?
Many plans, many dreams you have. Maybe buying a second house, trying to do some guiding. It depends on the work situation. It's still uncertain, as everything got more expensive the last 2-3 years. So I have to rethink a lot to it's due to the income. When everything gets more expensive, you don't get so much more money. So you need to figure out some other solutions what you can do, and this is what I'm working on. I don't have an answer yet, but in Norway it's more flexible and you have more possibilities to do stuff differently compared to other countries.
And do you have any plans for your channel on YouTube?
Yeah, for YouTube we'll just continue doing my content about the Arctic North, doing a trip to Scandinavia, in Finland and Sweden, and I have still on my list to explore South Norway. So this I will definitely do, and this will probably happen this year.
Nice, okay. So the last question is more like a fun question, but someone wanted to know which coffee is the best and how do you make it? It's an important question.
The best coffee, I tried many variations. You know, you have so many possibilities. You can have a mug, or you have a normal coffee machine, or you have a full automatic coffee machine, barista machine, what I bought maybe 2 years ago. And this is definitely the best, but it depends on the beans. And I found out what I can get here in Norway is the Lavazza beans, barista version, a bit more stronger. I used to mix it with steamed milk, so it's really good in taste. And it's kind of similar with an espresso with the capsules, what I had before. But this was way expensive to buy. So it's more cheap to buy beans, 1 kilogram, and do it in a barista machine.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for the interview, for the little Q&A. I hope we could answer all the questions and everything. If anyone wanted to know some more things about Alex, just put it into the comments, and I'm sure that he will respond to it very soon. So, thank you.